Young women can now become porn stars in a matter of minutes. And increasingly, they actually want to do that. I want to start the story, though, about one specific young girl who just a few years ago was a viral child rapper who now just broke an OnlyFans record, hours after turning 18. Now, I do not want to name this young woman for this episode, but I do want to speak about this because I think it speaks to a larger issue that I'm going to get into. Right after turning 18, this individual posted this on her social media, and it was the total amount of money that she made from OF in 3 hours. 3 hours after turning 18. Over $1 million gross earnings. Truly gross, actually. Her caption also said, $1 million in 3 hours. We broke the F out of the OnlyFans record. Come see the content I took of myself at 12:01 a.m. on my 18th birthday. Only available for 24 hours. It's so disgusting, first of all, that thousands of men are fleeing to witness a barely legal young woman. And it is also disgusting that she has used her young age as a way to entice and elicit excitement leading up to her birthday. She was even making jokes about the fact that she essentially knows that she has a bunch of creeps following her for years, and then now she's going to benefit from them. A lot of people were like, was she even a minor when she took the content? But she was saying, it's 12:01, so I'm an adult. Oh, gosh, so gross. I looked at those dollar signs and the amount she made from subscriptions and tips and private messages. It's like, who are these people? Do we have that many creepers in society? That alone is very disheartening and disgusting. That many people are so excited that the second that she turns 18. Gosh, perverted on so many fronts, but man, that is just disheartening, to say the least. Over on X, obviously, everyone was talking about this, and someone said, can we just call OnlyFans what it is? And I think that is important to do. I think, again, a lot of times we say OF and we just kind of, it's OF. No, it's pornography and it's prostitution. Just want to clear that up for anyone who doesn't think that or know that. Another person asked, how do we get to the point where prostitution is openly celebrated and rewarded instead of shamed? Now, I know, and I saw this a lot in her comment sections, so many people were begging her, no, please don't do this. Like, we thought you were joking. Don't do it. And at the same time, it's getting this kind of views and this kind of dollar signs behind it. So while in certain comment sections, it's not necessarily celebrated, over on OF, it certainly is. And also just last week, I was talking about that story with Urban Decay and them celebrating this OF star. So it is being celebrated and it is a problem. And back to that guy's question of when did it get to that point where it's being celebrated? When it became an app used by influencers. Prostitution was once banished to a sketchy side street corners under the cover of darkness or in brothels. Except for Nevada, both of those things are highly illegal. They still are. And prostitution was viewed exclusively as dark and dangerous and detestable because it is. But now it's being rebranded and repackaged to men and women as glamorous and sexy and empowering. It's just fun, they say. It's nothing serious. And so seconds after turning 18, these teens can become stars without ever leaving the comfort of their own bedroom. The barrier to entry is simply age. Another person over on X talking about this girl's particular story said, it's so sad, she's become the archetype of everything wrong with our world today. And this in particular, I agree, because she was a child star, and her whole brand was being foul-mouthed and poorly behaved and massively rich.
Man hating on me, but that ain't changing nothing. I still gonna be rich. I'm the youngest flexer of the century, bitch.
She blew up even further a couple years ago after her Instagram account had posted that she had died. Later on, it was discovered that it was all a hack and it wasn't true. I say hack loosely because it was definitely a marketing stunt, but it got everyone talking about her. Mind you, she was a child then also. And then reports from that same account started accusing her father of being abusive, and she was in legal battles against her father for years. She seemed to even go offline during those years, but then she returned with the help of her mother, who sadly is also in the game of exploiting her child, even though she would probably rephrase that as, oh, it's empowering. I'm empowering my daughter.
She has a passion and a dream.
This young girl in particular was failed at every turn. And ultimately, with her latest decision, she failed herself. It's disgusting and important to talk about, and it's also heartbreaking. Where are the friends and family in this young girl's life that love her? Not her money, but her. Good fathers and mothers are massively important, as evidenced by this sad cliche of crappy parents producing OnlyFans starlets. It's that cliche because she talks about, having an abusive home life and family and a rough, if not obsolete, relationship with her father. And just these things that they make jokes about, daddy issues and this stuff. And it's like, no, we're seeing this pipe. Like, we need to fix it because there is a problem. There are correlations. It's a cliche for a reason. I'd saved another comment and just said, I'm so happy I don't have a daughter in this era. And that line broke my heart because many people do. And we should want to. But there is definitely a problem here because it's becoming much more of a widespread problem than a few child stars from social media. So how do we protect our daughters? I just wanted to show you guys a couple articles because this has been recently talked about a lot. Teens are considering influencing and OnlyFans modeling as valid career options. I saw several articles talking about that literally young girls are now wanting to do this in high school. Why so many teen girls are planning on becoming OnlyFans stars. Many teen girls today plan on skipping high school graduation to join OF when they're 18. They believe they can start making loads of money immediately by creating explicit content for subscribers. How did we get here as a culture? How did we get here? A great question. It's sad because it feels like in 2025, we're just consuming garbage from everywhere. But I want to tell you about something that is clean and good for you to consume, and that is Masa Chips. Now, you guys know I've been on this whole journey lately trying to clean up what I eat and making sure that I'm removing seed oils from my diet. And I stumbled across something that has truly blown me away, and that is Masa Chips. I don't know if you guys know this yet, but most of your favorite chips and fries used to be cooked in beef tallow up until the 90s. And then Big Food came in, they switched everything over to cheap processed seed oils to save money, naturally. And now seed oils make up 20% of what the average American eats every single day. 20%. That is crazy to me. No wonder so many of us are dealing with inflammation and feeling sluggish and all of those things thanks to seed oils. But that is why I love Masa Chips, because they went back to the old school way of doing things with just 3 ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. No seed oils, no weird chemicals. Literally their label is 3 ingredients, which is so rare and so good. Most importantly though, they taste incredible. I love them. I cannot stress that to you guys enough. If you try them, you will see what I mean. That's all we eat at our house. It's Masa Chips all the time. So if you guys want to give Masa a try for yourself, you can go to masachips.com/Conrad and use code Conrad for 25% off your first order, which is huge. That's masachips.com/Conrad and use code Conrad for 25% off your first order. Consume some goodness in your diet. Now let's get back to talking about something that is not good for you to consume. This one article is talking about how a school resource officer from rural America was saying that he hears teen girls in high school tell each other only ugly girls get diplomas. Oh my gosh. The idea that this is becoming a viable career path that girls are openly talking about. In the article, it goes on to ask, like, how do we get here? And it, they say the normalization of porn and OnlyFans. Yes, that is a huge problem. That's why I always try to talk about normalization and why we need to stop it from becoming more and more normal. It's like that slippery slope, and until we are able to draw a hard line, it's just going to keep sliding. As evidenced by this, now girls in high school are like, yeah, OF sounds like a good option. I know all of us when we were young, we want to be like famous and actresses and actors and singers and fashion designers and all the cliches that every young girl has and young boy. They want to be professional athletes. That all makes sense. But now we're starting to see it becoming YouTubers and influencers as that job that everyone wants. But now, in addition to that, it's sliding into that scale of the influencers. Well, a lot of them are also doing OF. So now girls are starting to talk about being OF models. It's a much easier sell, of course, when they just say models, when it's an OF model. Obviously, it's not modeling. We know what it actually is, but they try to call it that. Again, they're trying to rebrand, repackage, and make things sound more palatable. This is an organization called Street Grace, and it was an interview with a former recruiter for an OF agency. And I thought that a lot of this was very insightful, but I'm going to read one question in particular that this recruiter was asked. What are some of the concerning trends that you're seeing? We're seeing a rise in people thinking that creating content on OnlyFans is a legitimate career path. Here in America, the Bop House is hugely popular with 3.2 million followers on TikTok alone. The Bop House is a bunch of young women producing very childlike content that inadvertently promotes their OnlyFans accounts. They're representing a lifestyle that isn't true or realistic. Yet every place I go, young girls know about the Bop House, which I don't think I've talked about here yet on the show, but there is a now house, sort of like, I think of Jake Paul's Hype House from back in the day when a bunch of YouTubers all lived in the same house, just create a bunch of content. Now that's becoming a thing with young OF stars, all just living in the same house, creating a bunch of content. So a bunch of young women move out to LA and live in these houses. It sounds so eerily similar to a modern day brothel. I'm trying to think of the difference. That they're just selling through their phone rather than in person. That's the difference. What else is different about it? We're raising and influencing a generation to think that their biggest dreams should be to become sex workers. We've never lived in a time and culture where sex work has been idolized in this way. If we continue to normalize this, we're communicating to little girls and young women that they should forget about their dreams, get naked online, and they'll make a bunch of money. It's not a theory, it's happening. Man, that line just, it spooked me. So many of these articles were saying like, no, this is an actual problem. In other parts of this article, the former recruiter was saying how these young women also think that there's no pimps in this industry, but there is. And agencies and all these other kind of marketing tactics and networks and groups that they're a part of, like, there are pimps. They're just called something different. There's so much darkness that, again, no one talks about, no one sees, but it's so important to see, to look for and then to also teach young women about. But even something like the Bop House, I mean, those girls have a boss and there's someone who pays for them to do a lot of, like, that's a pimp. Again, it's all so dark in how it's been rebranded. I always think of like the Screw Tape Letters, C.S. Lewis's Screw Tape Letters, and how would the devil want to just change something to make it consumed by a lot of people, and it's like this, rebrand it, make it look enticing. I can just see, you just see how the darkness is working. It's so scary, but also I don't think we're too far gone that this can't change course. It's gonna take a lot of people talking about it. And kind of to scale back out even further, this is a prison both to the consumer and to the creator. Pornography at large is a dangerous drug and weapon in the pocket of every child and adult in America. It is a drug that will destroy a family from the inside. I mean, just think about how it could affect every single family member. It is an evil that has just implanted itself and has been festering for years. And now it has a vice grip on culture in a whole different way. I mean, just think about OF itself. It was founded less than a decade ago, I think back in 2016. And when it started, it wasn't even this garbage hellhole that it has become. This is all so new. So what do we do now? Many of these articles included recommended advice at the bottom to encourage parents to be open and ask questions in a non-judgmental way about platforms like OF and what their teens think about it. And while yes, I would agree with that, I think there's more to add. Because as we saw in the case of the young woman earlier, parents play such an important role. And not just by saying OF is wrong, but by teaching them what is right and what is good and what is true. Instilling values and then having the parents hold to those values in their own lives, because that is where those principles are most formed. When kids are watching, they're learning so much from their parents. I just learned some stat about how like religion, that the majority of kids will develop certain fundamental things about their religion by the age of 13 by whether or not their parents practice it. It's what's creating like core fundamentals. Not just, parents saying like, oh, do as I say, not as I do. It's like, no, you have to do. You have to do it too. You can't just say certain things. It's just re-emphasizing the importance of teaching your children that they are valuable, that they are precious, and that their bodies are precious and made for way more than a career like OnlyFans. And also teaching our children that they are worth more than the darkness that comes from consuming this kind of content as well. With a culture actively trying to normalize this problem on all fronts and seeing that it is working, we need to step up our game to fight against this. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. For other content, you can also follow me on Instagram and X, as well as our brand new comment section Instagram. I'll see you in the next episode.